Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Rodan. And today, as you can see, I'm still continuing my Disney movie marathon where I'll be talking about the movies, of course, the TV shows, merchandising, I don't know, whatever the case may be, I guess. So I just thought I'd just do one of these news reports type things again, which I haven't done in a good little while. So, yes, of course, give you a bit of context. Yes, ever since I've started YouTube, which was like the early part of 2008, I've been complaining about remakes. And yes, I know a lot of recent years I've been complaining about Disney remakes. But complaining about remakes in general, I've been doing that for years. I do mean years. Of course, even TV remakes I would complain about. They're all terrible. Every single one of these is terrible. You can't change my mind. It's pointless, it's needless, it's lazy. There's no point. It just comes off. You're just rehashing something that's been done multiple times already. You don't want to take any risks at all. Okay, to be somewhat lenient here, yeah, I've complained about horror remakes before, and yeah, quite a few times actually. It just seems like the horror genre is plagued with horror remakes because a lot of these individuals they don't want to take any risk. Like I was saying, even though the horror genre is my favorite, really, they just want to do something that's quick, easy, not a lot of thought is placed into it. They know people will come to this just because of the title, because it's familiar. They want to stick with the familiar. It's not that they ran out of ideas or anything. They just want to stick with the familiar and not get away from that. With that being said, yeah, I'm going to be talking about specifically what I heard about this article here, folks. The director's son of the live-action Snow White. Yeah, I mean, yes, there was already some backlash prior to this. Yes, there was already some bad news anyway prior to this because of the casting, direction, just stuff like that in that nature because it just doesn't seem promising. Of course, it's another soulless remake, obviously. And, and another major complaint is, of course, is that a lot of people are saying, like the one article I just showed you, is like there's no respect for what Disney had done. And yeah, so if anything, this comes off like a complete disrespect towards what Disney had to go through. Okay, something I've said before. Yes, it was nearly impossible to create the original Snow White and Seven Dwarfs. So yes, the original film was responsible for the company's success. It was thanks to this movie that actually helped the career for Walt Disney. And this was actually the first full-length animated movie of the time. So this film pretty much accomplished the impossible. So a lot of the vast majority of people at the time literally had no faith in this movie, like at all. People were thinking Walt Disney himself was insane. A lot of people believe that he was out of his mind. He just had no sense in his head. You must be crazy. So, but like I said, he established the impossible. Thanks to his movie, it launched this kind of career. It made the impossible possible, and it did what it's supposed to be done. So yeah, it was a lot of technical achievements made for this film because the people behind this movie went up and beyond. Yes, this movie had done a lot of great things for cinematic history. So, and this guy wants to remake it? What the hell?
Hey pal, you just blowing from Stupid Town?
Okay, to be perfectly clear, folks, I already know there's going to be some social justice warriors who already complain about it. You know, diversity. We need diversity. We need diversity. Wham, 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 wham. I mean, okay, this is something I didn't really want to bring up because I've brought this up before. And yes, the whole remake stuff, I brought up multiple times before, so I feel like I'm repeating myself. Having diversity, that in itself is not the issue. There's plenty of stories you could actually use for your musical. You can still have the whole castle, princess, queen thing. You can still have all that. That in itself is not the problem. And of course, you can take place in a certain time period, which a lot of these movies tend to do anyway. And it depends on how the story is done. It depends how it's made. You don't want to be overly focused on one aspect of the story. And because, okay, let's say we have a Mexican one, or then a Cuban one, or then a Chinese one, then let's say a Dutch one, then let's say one from Europe, somewhere, I guess. What about this? What about that? What about this? What about an India one? Or what about, oh sure, let's do one from Spain, one from Jamaica, maybe Korea, or even what about the Dominican Republic? Or maybe from someone from Australia, perhaps. Sure. Maybe from one from Greece, one from France, one from Finland. So, or, but point being, there's a lot. I mean, a lot, a truck ton of countries could actually select from, and there's so many. There are so many countries to actually select from. Yeah, my issue is that problem is kind of attitude is that they overly focus on where the character came from rather than the own merits of the overall story. So, okay, the thing is that I was just wondering, why can't they do a sequel instead? Even though that came out in the late 1930s, but whatever. And that's the thing. Originally, they were supposed to have been a sequel. They were actually planning to do a part two. And actually, they were actually going to do two prequels. One of which was going to focus on the specific dwarves, and then another one was planned to have focus on them as a group and how they got together. So yes, and I guess kind of like an expanded universe, but sort of. What had they actually had that in mind? I mean, if they made one of these, that doesn't mean they're going to make the other. But still, point being, another film, or possibly films, maybe, was planned, but it eventually was canceled. Of course, that never materialized. But yes, bottom line, they were planning to do more starring these characters in one way or another, in some shape or another. And would that be a good idea? I don't know. Probably not. But still, point being, what I'm trying to say is that it still would have made a lot more sense to do a sequel. It's just rehashing the entire thing. And I already know they were making some major changes, like the whole race swapping thing, which I don't want to talk about too much because I've talked about this before because it's extremely stupid. Dragon Age Inquisition had the whole diversity thing, and it did it just fine. Everybody is from a different background. Everybody has different sexual orientations. Everybody may identify as this or that gender. But guess what? There's more to them than just that. There's more to them than all these things. Treat these characters as actual characters. Like, oh my god, they can be actual characters? What do you know? Not just check marks. Unlike this game, however, Life is Strange, that's exactly what they did. They just check marked it. Okay, we got this, check. Got that, check. Check, 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 check. That's all. That's all this game was. While simultaneously trying to act as if literally every single white person exists is the devil. Which is absurdly stupid. You can't just shit on one race of people while promoting anti-racism. That seems counterproductive. Like I said, I don't want to be too much on this because I feel like I'm repeating myself far too often. Because Disney himself, when he was alive, he was accused of being racist. He was accused of being anti-Semitic. He was accused of being homophobic, race, and all that jazz, which of course is all a lie. And that's how this feels like. This feels like he was trying to erase a problem that never existed to begin with. This was just done just because of that. Okay, that, and also the other thing I want to bring up real quick is also nostalgia. Having a princess character from a specific country is not the issue. The issue is a character being one way and then just them swapping it for something else. Like, for example, let's say, okay, the first Frozen film. The first Frozen film became the highest grossing film from Walt Disney of all time. It became a massive success, which led to a sequel, miniseries, comics, books, you name it, and large merchandising. Queen Elsa and Princess Anna are both Norwegian. Both these characters are Norwegian, and which means they're from the place called Norway, which of course is a good thing. It shows that a princess and a queen character does not have to come from the same exact place. That's really good. That's in its sense having some sort of diversity and whatnot. So that's, and of course it also shows that yes, they're women, but it doesn't treat men stupid. It doesn't treat men like they're secondhand citizens. And it's one of my favorite animated movies out there. But I will admit, if it wasn't for Snow White, the Frozen films would have never existed. So thanks to this movie, it made Frozen possible. Okay, I'll bring up Tinkerbell and her friends. I mean, yes, Tinkerbell was originally considered as a princess originally, so I'm going to include her because of that. These fairies are also from different countries, and that's great. All these characters could team up to either A, fix a problem, or B, prevent one. But whatever the case is, they were team up to make society better. They would help each other, and despite the fact that they're from different countries and whatnot, different states or what have you, despite looking different, hey, they would team up and help everyone out and help to grow as a society. Yes, no one's perfect. Yes, people are flawed, sure, but you can team up and help everyone out and fix whatever's going on. And yes, you can also say that it was because of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs that made this possible, and that's great. Of course, I can't forget Mulan. Yeah, along with Cinderella, obviously. Then there's also Sleeping Beauty, of course. And yes, let's not forget Beauty and the Beast. Okay, literally every single Disney princess film and their sequels happened because this film was a massive success. So they all have this film to thank. It's initially the butterfly effect. So this movie had to occur in order for everything else to happen. And like I was saying before, it helped to create a business, which is fine. That's capitalism for you. You have to take risks. In this case, the risk paid off. So, fun fact, Walt Disney himself failed the first time, and it was thanks to capitalism that gave him a second chance. So basically, this film has a whole legacy behind it, and you just want to spit all over that? Are you kidding me? This is just beyond what moronic. You know that this film was the first movie for a lot of people. Not everyone, but this was people's first movie they saw as a kid. At the very least, they saw it as a kid and really enjoyed it. And that's for a lot of people. They saw this film, the original Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. They seem to enjoy it a lot, which is fine. It is a really great movie. And but I'm not trying to bash the original film. The original film is fine. I really enjoyed it myself. I've seen it quite a few times actually over the years. So the original film, I have no complaints about it. Just my one complaint is okay. Aside from the fact from remaking, I hate remakes. I really do hate remakes. I still do to the very day. I hate remakes. If anything, it's the motivation as to why they want to do this. Is what I'm trying to get at. It just seems to trying to fix something. They're trying to erase a problem that never existed in the first place. And of course, the whole idea of Walt Disney was supposedly sexist as well, which again was a complete lie. Trying to fix something that was not even there to begin with. Which is kind of odd anyway, because this movie was released again during the late 1930s. Nobody had an issue with this then. Yeah, when this film was released, nobody, literally no one had an issue with this then. And in the following years, they didn't either. It just come off like in recent years. Okay, it wasn't all that recent. Maybe somewhere between like the 1990s, the early 2000s, and now. Not the one I'm screaming. Not the one scream sexism, and all that. Just now, suddenly it's a problem. What are you talking about? To make this even more absurd, is that the actress herself actually went on record during these interviews that she didn't like the original film, more specifically the main character Snow White herself. Yet she's the very person that Disney hired to play. And that's the thing is that she admitted, again, doing interviews, she just saw the film once and it scared her. And she never saw it since. She just saw it once during her childhood. And yes, the original character, Snow White, she's sweet, she's very caring, she's very loving. So basically, the original Snow White herself, was most likely probably the sweetest, most kindest individual you could ever meet. She's the type of person that would actually help out everybody, and that's what happens in the movie. She wanted to help out everyone because at the end of the day, she had what you call a pure heart. She wanted to make sure everybody's safe and whatnot. And in the context of the original film, that's fine. And it made sense for what they were trying to do. However, somehow this pissed the actress off, that right there, because somehow it means it's sexist. What? Somehow, women should be independent. Women should be strong. Yeah, we're in the whole nonsensical that women can't be strong or whatever. So, in other words, they want to give her some sort of attitude. Like, really? That's the exact opposite of what the character is. Newsflash, you dingus. This doesn't mean it's anti-woman. It's not anti-woman like some people made up to believe. Just because a woman is saved by a man in reality or fiction, it doesn't make them any less strong. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. Even vice versa. If a man was saved by a woman and asked for help from a woman, that doesn't mean he's weak, like at all. I'm just tired of. I'm just sick and tired of hearing people even saying that a female character is invalid if she even interacts positively with the man in her life. That is so stupid. It just comes off, what I'm saying, it just comes off, you're trying to make a strong female character for its own sake. Alright, like I said, I don't, like many things I've already brought up in this video, I don't want to stay on for too much on its own subject matters, like I've mentioned before with the other things I mentioned. I don't want to be stuck on this specific part like the other things because this is something I've mentioned quite a few times before. Yes, you can have women be feminine, you can have women be soft, you can have women be romantic and be strong all at the same time. There's nothing wrong with being strong, but some people just take it way too far these days and expect all women to live up to such extreme stereotype that you must have muscles, you must have, you must be, I guess, masculine and whatnot. What works for one character may not work for the other. To back up what I'm saying here, I'm bringing up Alice in Wonderland because it was originally considered as a princess movie. Not anymore, but still. I mean, yes, okay, even this movie has its thanks to this film for existing. But my point being, in the live action remake by Tim Burton, oh, this was such a bad movie. But point being is that in this one, she's son is a warrior. She gotta be strong and punch people and stab or whatever. What the hell? So we're going to kind of get the same thing here. So you mean to tell me that's kind of productive when you think about it? You don't want all female characters to be placed in a box, while simultaneously you put all the characters in a box. You're doing the very thing that you're complaining about. What? I mean, okay, I'm just gonna end this video. I mean, there's still a lot more I could talk about, I guess, but it's just ridiculous. Because honestly, I feel like I'm just repeating the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again. Oh, anyway, thanks for watching and take care, too.